So is there any question from anyone, or are you guys practicing?
Actually, I missed yesterday. Sorry, the last session. I haven't caught up, but
Okay,
I
okay.
was actually got busy with many more other things. But yes,
Yeah,
I'll
I can.
watch it and I'll put the questions. I had some personal stuff which was
Okay,
like
okay. That's fine.
absorbing me. But
Uh-huh.
I'll take a look and I'll come back with questions.
Sure, Kapil.
Thank you.
Because the thing is, if I am finding the time to like make these notes and then deliver it
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
you, I also expect the same from you guys also.
Certainly, certainly. That's absolutely valid expectation.
Right. Okay, I think now we can get started. So I'm sharing my screen. Let us know once it is visible.
I can see.
Okay, great. So in the previous session, we discussed about the data types which were strings, and also we completed numbers as of now. So today we will be moving forward and discuss about other data types such as tuple, list, dictionary, and set. And if there would be time, um, we will start with the operators that are there in Python. So we already took few of the examples for strings where we learned how to do indexing and how to do slicing and dicing. So that is an important concept in Python, because slicing and dicing will be throughout the Python sessions, whatever data type we choose. So slicing and dicing will be there, and even if we use libraries such as pandas and numpy, slicing and dicing will not leave you. So now let's proceed further and discuss about the other data type, which is tuple. Again, let us just revisit what was mutable and immutable. So mutable is something where we can alter or change the values of the variable, and also we can override them. But if I talk about immutable, immutable means we cannot alter them or we cannot change the values of it, but we can override them. So tuple is another data type which is also immutable, that we cannot tuple cannot be altered or changed, but they can be overwritten. So what all data types that we have discussed, like numbers, strings, and tuple, that we are going to discuss right now. So all of these data types are the immutable data types where values cannot be altered. So let's get started and see. Tuple is also one of the immutable data type. I hope you know what is immutable, as I have just explained. And also, from now onwards, we are moving towards the, you can say, a bunch of data types like tuple, list, set, and dictionary. These all data types are known as collections, because all of these data types store multiple values at one go, unlike numbers and strings where we were just storing the single values. Like if I want to declare a number, I was just writing a is equal to 10, or maybe num is equal to 10, or any other value. And for strings, we were defining like name is equal to Kashish. But here, from now onwards, we are defining the collections. So a collection can hold multiple elements or multiple values at one time, and those elements or the values can be heterogeneous. That means the collection can have either numbers or strings or the mixture of both. So collection can contain both numbers and strings at one point of time. We are going to discuss more about each of the data types later, but for now let's just discuss about the basics of it. So tuples are declared using circular parentheses. From now onwards, as these we are proceeding towards collections, now we have to make sure what brackets we are going to use. You have to note it down that for tuples, we have to use circular brackets. And it is very important to understand that why brackets are used here, because as we know that Python compiler and interpreter automatically detects the data type of the variable that we define. So this this way Python get to know that you are creating a tuple if you are using circular brackets. And for list, we use square brackets. That is the next part of this session. So we have to keep in mind, for tuples we have to use circular brackets while defining. As these are immutable, we cannot alter tuples such as append, insert, or remove. We cannot perform these operations on tuples since they are immutable. Now we onwards start focusing on the parentheses that we are using. So as I have already mentioned. Now let's create. So can anyone tell me like what will happen if I write nums is equal to 1, 2, 3? Any guess? And guys, please make this session interactive, otherwise it would be difficult for me to teach. Okay, so let me answer it. So once I write nums is equal to 1 comma 2 comma 3, if I run this, a variable is created by name of nums, and if I check the type of nums, it is tuple. Why? Let us understand. Because we have defined multiple values here, but we have just given one variable here. And one more thing, that I have not used brackets here. So by default, it has taken as tuple. So if you don't define brackets here, it will work, but it is not advisable. For creation of tuples, always you have to use circular brackets like this. So there is no difference in the variable creation in these two cells, but it is advisable to always use circular brackets for creation of tuples. If I run this, the answer will be same. There is no difference. Even if I print it, uh, maybe we can write print and then nums comma type of nums. And if I print this and the first one, the answer will be same. But again, just to reiterate that this is not advisable, always put the brackets. Okay, next is, if I want to define tube 1, tube 2 and tube 3 is equal to 1, so any guesses what would be the answer for it?
Will it define three, I mean, tuples, like tuple 1 and tuple 2, and will it assign value 1?
Okay, so first of all, it will not create a tuple because 1 is an integer value and we have written equal to sign in each of these variables. So what it will do is it will assign the one value to tube 1 and one value to tube 2 and one value to tube 3. So three variables will be created, but value will be integer, and to all the value will be 1. Let's just run it and check. You can see class integer is for this variable, second variable and third variable as well. This happened because we have not used brackets. Let's now see. This we already discussed when we learned how to use numbers and how to use them, how to create them basically. Next, instead of equal to sign, if I write comma, so what will happen? So comma basically creates multiple variables with multiple values. What we did here, we were just using single value to create multiple variables. But if I use comma within the variable names, this means that I want to create multiple variables with multiple values. But if even if I define single value, so it will definitely throw me in error. You can see cannot unpack non-iterable int object. This means you didn't pass multiple values to it. That's why it was expecting 3 values for each of the variable, but you have just passed 1. That's why we got an error. This is the same concept that we discussed in integers, but just want to revisit them because this will be used here as well. So if I use now multiple values, and these values will be assigned one by one to each of the variables. So 1 will go to tube 1, 4 will go to tube 2, and 2 will go to tube 3. So if I run this, now you can check. Okay, let me print the values as well, so that will be much clearer. Okay, now let's check the output. So 1 went to tube 1 and 4 went to tube 2, and finally 2 went to the last variable, and all of them are of class int. So how will you like determine if it is creating integer value or tuple value. That's why I suggested that don't just write it like 1 comma 2 comma 3, because it is not advisable. You have to write in brackets if you are creating a tuple variable. So for that, let us use the same variable syntax and then assign the values inside the brackets. Now let's see what happens. Now you can see, so it has not created a tuple again, because again inside a tuple it has like unpacked the values inside a tuple like 1, 4 and 2 and divided the values into each variables here, right? So how to assign multiple values to each of these variables? Those can be done using this syntax, using equal to sign. So what we are doing here in this cell, we are assigning a tuple value which is 1, 2, 3 to tuple1, tuple2 and tuple3. Let's check. Now it is run, and now let's check the output that each of these tuple, tuple1, tuple2 and tuple3 have been assigned to the values 1, 2 and 3. Even if I write inside the brackets and outside the brackets, it will be same, but I will prefer to use brackets so that no one gets confused here. And let me just copy this and show you the values as well. And if I run this again, you can see that it is indeed a tuple which is coming under circular brackets, and the class is tuple as well for all of these variables. And finally, as I told that now we are studying collections which can store multiple values, and the values can be heterogeneous. That means it can store strings, it can store numbers, and even if you want to store tuple inside a tuple, that can also be done. So I'm writing 1 which is an integer, xyz which is a maybe string, and del is also a string, and 10 is a number. Run this and check the output that it can accept heterogeneous data types as well, which are known as compound data types, and it belongs to class tuple. And let's take one more example. Suppose I want to write maybe t is equal to, I want to create a tuple. Maybe I can scroll a little down. So inside these circular brackets, I want to assign multiple values like maybe some number and then string like Delhi. And suppose there is one more tuple that I want to assign inside this tuple. So I can again put circular brackets here and write 80 comma x. Let's try to run this. You can see there is no error. Otherwise, um, otherwise we would have seen it right away. And let me add one more cell and write print t comma type of t. Now let's see how tuple inside a tuple gets stored in the backend. And you can see that first element is 10, second element is Delhi, and third element is this complete tuple. You don't break this as third element and this fourth element. This inside element, inside tuple is the third element of this outside tuple, external tuple basically, right? So I hope that is clear. So any questions till now?
No, Kashish, this looks okay to me. I mean, like, this is all about storing, and then slicing and dicing is about retrieving, right?
Yes, yes, exactly. Okay, so let us proceed. So as we discussed indexing, slicing, and dicing on strings, similarly we can do on tuples as well. But there is one catch. So tuple. So what will be the answer for tuple1? Let us check. So tuple1 contains these 4 elements. So can anyone tell me what would be the answer for this? If I want to index on the first index, what would be the answer out of these 4 values at index 1?
इनमें से एक और दे दूं? It will be XYZ.
Yes, it will be XYZ. That is correct. The next one, 1 colon 3.
XYZ and Delhi.
Yes, correct. And minus 1.
Delhi.
Minus 1, that is incorrect because last value is 10.
No. Yeah, that is 10, 10, 10. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. So Okay, now we have an idea about like how to store and retrieve the values using indexing and indexing. But as I told you that since tuples are also immutable, we cannot do the, you can say, assignment to those tuples. We have already done slicing and dicing here and also did indexing, but we cannot do the item assignment. Suppose I want to store at index location 1, instead of xyz, I want to store my name. So that is not possible since it doesn't support item assignment. In other words, it doesn't support alteration of existing values. So if I write that for tuple 1, sorry, for tup variable on index 1, I want to assign my name. That is not possible. If I run this, you can see tuple object doesn't support item assignment. So this is the concept of immutable on tuples. So all the three data types that we have discussed till now, like numbers, strings, and tuples, all of them are immutable. Now let's proceed to another collection data type, which is list, which is the fourth data type that we are going to discuss. This data type is mutable. That means list accepts item assignment, as well as we can do slicing and dicing, indexing, everything. So that's make it mutable, and alteration can be done, removal can be done, appending can be done, lots of operation can be done on lists. So let's see how we can create a list and how mutable works, because we haven't seen any example till now where I have shown that this is the example of mutable. So in this type of data, in this data type, we will see some examples. So list is one of the mutable data type. I hope you know what is mutable. If don't, so we will get much clarity now. Lists are declared using square parentheses. Again, you have to note it that for tuples we use circular brackets, and for list we have to use square brackets, because this helps Python to identify which kind of variable it want to like create in the backend. Since we already know Python do the variable declaration and identification of variable type automatically at backend. As these are mutable, we can alter lists such as append, insert, or remove. All of these operations are possible on list. Now let's create a list using square brackets, as we created tuple using circular brackets. So what we have to write, we have to write L is equal to, this can be any variable name. I just took L, and you have to put square brackets, and inside square brackets just pass on multiple values as we did in tuple. And again, list can also take heterogeneous elements as I have just defined. So let's print it, and I should restart the kernel since output is already shown here. So kernel is restarted, that's why outputs are removed now. Okay, this is good. So let's create the variable L again. So this has created a list. So item creation of variables for tuple and list are exactly same, just the sign, not the sign, just the brackets are different. Now let's print the list and check the type of it. You can see this is the list which is coming under square brackets, and the class belongs to list. Now let's check the item at element 2, index 2. So this is index 1, which is 1. At, sorry, index 0, the value is 1. Index 1, the value is xyz. At index 2, the value is Delhi. Let's print it. And can anyone tell me the answer for this? L minus 1 colon colon minus 1. What would be the answer?
Reverse and 10 Delhi XYZ and 1.
Yes, that is the answer. All of them, yes, but that should be reversed. So someone was saying 10. So do anyone has any question on this statement, like L minus 1 colon colon minus 1? If there is any,
Yeah, I did not get it. I did not get it how it was being reversed. I mean, I understand it is reading from backward.
okay.
So 10, and then that's a range of which we have this two dots.
Uh-huh.
2 dots, in fact. So how does it read? I mean, like maybe I'm missing from the last session.
Yeah, because in last session
I'll
we
take
had
a read.
We had so much
No, so you
practice.
can ignore that. Yeah, please. Sorry, you can go ahead.
Okay.
I'll refer that. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, so just to in couple of seconds I can cover. So this is the start value. Then after colon there is a stop value which we haven't given right now, and the last value is the step value. How much steps we want to jump.
Okay, got it.
And in Python, the stop value doesn't come into consideration. That will be skipped. So right now we are going from -1, which is the last element, and we have said that go in the negative sign. Like negative sign means right to left, and positive sign means from left to right. So
Understood.
this
Yeah.
makes
Thank you.
10 Delhi XYZ and 1. Let's print the output. So it has been reversed. So all the elements of the list has been reversed. Now let's check the other cells. Now we will see what we meant by mutable. Focus on ID and values. This is very important. So focus right here. We have already seen that indexing and slicing and dicing are possible on lists as well. So those are possible on strings. Second tuples. Third is list as of now. Now just focus on this cell. We are creating a list where we are assigning two values, 1 and 20. And then we are printing the list and checking the ID. Just to revisit, that ID helps us to check the memory allocation or the memory address from the backend, right? This simply means that what is the address of this variable in the memory. To check that, we use ID variable. So first of all, we are printing the list and we are checking the ID. Similarly, we are, so in the next step, so first of all, this list will be created and printed. Sorry. Then we are saying that at element 1 or the index 1 of list L, we want to assign value 30 instead of 20. So this is element 0 or index 0. This is index 1, which is the value is 20. So we are saying that index 1 should be replaced with 30, whatever value was there, right? So then we are going to again print the list with the same syntax that we have defined here. Let's check the output. You can see that first of all list was printed from here, that 1 comma 20, and then we replaced the value from 20 to 30 at the first index, and then again printed the list. Then it has returned 1 comma 30. This makes the list mutable because we have altered an existing element of the list, and you can see the IDs of that list is indeed same. This means that it has not created a new variable, it has altered an existing variable at the same memory address. Is it clear? Because understanding this is very important.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. So if you have understood this example, if we create a new list, what we did here, we assigned a value to the existing list. But if I create a new list, like if I have created L is equal to 10 comma 20, then I printed it, and again I am creating a new list or maybe overwriting it by new values which are 20 comma 30. So it will again create the variable L and will assign to a new memory allocation or the address. You can see the IDs are different. That means the previous list was stored at this address in the memory, but now once we have overwritten that variable, this variable went to this memory address. So this is the difference between alteration and overwriting specific variables in Python. Every time you overwrite a variable, sorry, was there any question?
Can you please show up the upper example? I mean, I just want to check about
Sure.
the. So if we're defining value with a particular, I mean, location, I mean, like at one,
This is the
so it
index.
didn't, yeah, so, sorry,
Mhm.
index. So it didn't change the, I mean, ID, it didn't change ID, memory location. Okay.
Right,
So down, if we are using the same variable,
right.
then in that case, it will override the. I mean, if it is overriding the upper variable, the memory location should be same, no?
Okay, let me just explain this again. So once we are you clear with this example, the upper cell?
Yeah, I'm clear.
Okay. So in this example, we created a new list So how to create a list, we already know by using this syntax. And then we are saying we don't want to create a new list again. We want to alter this list, the existing list. For that, we have to specify at what index location you want to change the value. So we did this here. But here, so to create a new list, we use this syntax. Similarly, we use this. And same syntax I am writing here. This means it is again creating a new list. So first of all, this list was created and assigned to this address in the memory. But second time, I'm creating again a new list. So this variable will not hold these values now. And this memory allocation, this memory address will be cleaned up from the memory. And this list will be assigned to a new address in the memory. So this means we are overwriting or maybe overwriting the values of list L, but here we were altering the values of list L, which was already existing. Suppose I have written like this. Suppose I'm not creating a new list. I'm just altering the list which is just created. Maybe I can take a new cell. I think
Actually, Kashish, this wasn't my question. I mean, my question was, is it the case overriding or I mean, it is behaving like a new variable itself?
yes,
Since
exactly. It is creating a new
yeah,
variable.
yeah. So in one of the memory location we have like in 92 memory location we have variable L, and in other memory locations like 36 we have other variable like L. It's not overriding. It is creating altogether a new variable,
No,
right?
no, 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 no. It is creating a new variable, but it also removing this variable, first one, because one
Okay.
same variable name cannot hold multiple values, right? So first of all, it is
Okay.
deleting the L at this location. Then it is creating new L with these values and assigning it to new location in the memory. So this will
Okay.
be
Okay.
first one will be deleted.
Okay.
So
I
this
hope
override can be done to any type of variables, right?
yes.
Like
This concept is same for all the variables,
yeah.
but the assignment is not possible in all the variables since this is the concept of mutable.
Okay.
That makes tuple and list and other data types different. So I was just explaining this example. If I want to just change both the elements, like first of all, I've created this list 10, 20 values, and then I want to change both the values here. So I can write L and then uh, colon 2. I hope this will work. Then maybe we can change the value to maybe 1, 1 comma X, and let's check if it works. You can see the first of all the values were 10, 20 in this list L. Then we printed this. So first value is this. Then at the 0th location and the first location, we wanted to change both the values. So how we did, we are writing this start value is nothing. So it will start from the beginning of the list, and we ended at position 2. Position 2 means it will end at position 1. It will not go up to 2 since it ignores the last element. And we are saying that both the elements should be replaced with 1 and X. It doesn't matter what was the value, it was a string or integer, whatever value you are defining it as new values, it will accept that and it will store it. And you can see now we have altered this list now and the IDs are indeed same. Now I hope it would be like clear to you.
Yeah.
Okay, let's proceed now. Now question comes, so list and tuple both are used practically. But there are some cases where we have list and sometimes we don't want the user to change the elements of that list. So what we can do is we can create the tuples for them. We can create a list first of all like this, L is equal to these values, and then we can check the type that it will be a list. And then there is a function which is tuple to convert from a list to tuple, right? So we are passing L as an argument to this function which is tuple. So it will convert a list to tuple, and then it is storing to variable t. And finally we are printing the values of t and checking the type of t. So this will return me a list and this will return me a tuple for the same elements. Just focus on the brackets in the output. That this is a list, first of all, that we created, and it belongs to class list. Then we converted the list to tuple using tuple function, and then the brackets have been converted to circular brackets, and it belongs to class tuple. And vice versa, we have another function list for conversion of tuple to list. So first of all, we are creating tuple and storing all these elements, and then we are converting the tuple into list using list function. This is just the inverse of what we did in the upper cell. And finally, we are printing it in the last cell, last line. So first of all, I will get the tuple that we have defined here using circular brackets, and then the conversion will be done here to list, and the final output will be a list. You can see circular brackets and tuple, and after conversion, it has been converted to list, and it definitely belongs to list class.
Sorry, Kashish, after conversion also will the list exist after converting it to tuple, or
Yes,
it is
because
already converted?
as you can see, the variable names are different. For tuple, we define T, and for L, we define L. Sorry, for list, we define L.
Yeah, that's right.
So definitely both of these are different.
Yeah.
Now you can check the memory allocation; those will be different.
So
And
still there.
one more thing that you can try is just try to assign the same value, like list of T, and keep it as T. What will happen? Let me run this. Now you can see that this T will not exist now, because T has been finally converted to a list. And if I just print T now, this will just return me a list instead of tuple, because we have overridden the values, or you can say the data type of the tuple in the final list. Is it clear? But in the previous case, what we did, we created a new variable so that both can be printed. If I run this again, and if I write print T comma L, both will be there. So T will hold tuple and L will hold list. Is it clear, Himesh?
Yeah, good.
Okay. There was a message. Let me check. Why we didn't use big braces while converting from tuple to list? Okay. Big braces means the square brackets, Chirag. Okay. So as I mentioned that tuple and list are functions, and always with functions we use circular brackets, as you can see, with print, with type, with ID, with help, with format. It doesn't matter what is the function. With all the functions we use circular brackets. We cannot use square brackets. That is the answer to your question. Okay. So now let's proceed and learn fifth data type, which is dictionary. But I think we should rejoin because just 5 minutes are left, and then in between it, the call will be disconnected. So let's rejoin quickly so we can cover dictionary again. Casting one object to another. Yes,
Sure.
exactly, Kapil.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. So let's rejoin. Then we can continue.